There's a principle of Jewish law that goes something like, for justice to be done, both sides must be heard. For justice to be done, both sides must be heard. This runs so deeply in their law that for capital cases, there's this jolting provision that if the judges are unanimous in finding for the plaintiff, the case is dismissed. For apparently an adequate case for the defense hasn't been heard. If it's unanimous, according to the judges, then apparently there's something lacking. In other words, both sides deserve a proper hearing for justice to be done and seen to be done, even for the people of Sodom, whom Abraham attempted to defend. Now, the story in Genesis makes it clear that Abraham wasn't protecting the innocent people of Sodom from an unjust God. For just before the lines that we heard, the story reads, "Then the Lord said, shall I hide from Abraham what I am about to do? For I have chosen him so that he will direct his children and his household after him to keep the way of the Lord by doing what is right and just." Those were the exact words Abraham used in discussing the issue with God. Should not the judge of all the world do what is just? You see, God was inviting Abraham to consider the moral messiness of human beings on this earth and how what is right and just might prevail. The innocent deserve to be defended, Abraham responded after his conversation with God. But what do we know elsewhere in the story? Not one innocent person was to be found. It was like when a parent involves a child in finding a solution to a problem which the parent already knows how to solve, but involves a child so that she or he develops that ability. In this instance, no one in Sodom was innocent, but there are times, lots of times, when the innocent do suffer because of the evil choices of others. I mean, we can shake our fist at God and say, "It's not fair, you're not just," while he says to us, "I know. That's why I've involved you in this. What are you and I going to do about it?" In hindsight, that's how I see some of the volunteer work they had us do at the seminary. For example, going to nursing homes. That seems like a natural thing for priests, right? They can't get out. The priest goes, visits, brings the Eucharist, prays with them. But I think also, whether or not our formators understood this or believed this, but I think it also involves the potential priest and the messy moral shortcomings of humanity. Where are the families of all these people? Few are the ones who have visitors. And then just the other day, a resident relayed a story about another resident who made this remark: "She, a nurse, actually treats me like a person." Or it's a little bit like the person I ran into at the gym the other day who was telling me about a change in his job, traveling more. And he said, there's not much humanity in the corporate world these days. And I said, well, bring some humanity to it. You can do that. Or it's like at the Verizon store I visited yesterday after a phone mishap. The case fared very, very well. The phone, not so much. Anyhow, I had been helped, and my phone was getting set up. And then the rep moves on to the next person in line, who's an elderly woman, whose identity, along with her husband's, had been stolen. And she kept saying my phone had been hacked. And so he was working so patiently and kindly with her. And then those who were behind her, she turned to and said, "I'm so sorry for making you wait, because it was taking a long time." And they were so kind to say, "We understand. Get this done. Get that taken care of." What were they doing? the rep, the others, well, they were beginning to rectify the injustice that had been perpetrated upon her and her husband. Maybe that's why God allows you to see injustices at work, in your relationships, or maybe in the physical trials of others, who, like all of us, experience in their body, in their health, the effects of original sin. How are we going to deal with this? God is asking us. If you then, who are wicked, know how to give good gifts to your children, we heard Jesus say, how much more will the Father in heaven give the Holy Spirit to those who ask him? Friends, ask for the Holy Spirit, the mind of God, so that instead of shaking our fist at him or simply complaining about all the wrongs in the world, we might come to know what is right and just and how to work with God to accomplish it.